Hello there, I'm Deanna. Welcome to the channel. If you are building, or like me, in the process of rebuilding your trumpeting skills, then you're in the right place. This is video number 2 in the Trumpet Study Project. It's the Clodomir edition, and it's a video series I've just launched. With each video I post in this series, along with playing the study, I'll be sharing tips, strategies, and insights. To learn why I'm doing this video series and to see the first video of study number 1, click the card above, which will take you to that first video. I'll also leave a link in the description below. I've been playing the trumpet for over 45 years. I've prepared for and stepped out onto stages more than 500 times as a trumpeter and also a conductor. I love music and I love the trumpet, and on my channel, I cover all things trumpet. This video is study number 2 from Clodomir's 70 Little Studies, and in a moment I'll show you my best rendition of it from my recent practice sessions. Then we're going to go and look at excerpts from my practicing, and I'm going to talk about where my head was at initially when I sat down, what I was focusing on while I was working on the study, and then how I approached practicing the parts that gave me trouble, and there were some. Plus, I'm going to share an insight that I had from my past experience way back when I played more. That's a really good thing to keep in mind when you're working on something. Okay, so here's my best rendition at this time of Clodomir's study number 2 from the 70 Little Studies, followed by a trip into the practice room with some tips you're not going to want to miss. Clodomir number 2. You know, in listening to that again, there are things in there I still would like to play better, but that'll come. So when I sat down to first start practicing it, I just opened up the book and I started with only the thought of playing cleanly and accurately as much as possible. But this is really quite slow, and while that can be a good thing for getting a sense of the piece, a feel for it, but what I hadn't done, and this is my first point, is I hadn't checked what the target tempo is. But then I realized. And I am definitely too slow. Metronome going. Now with my metronome going, I carried on a little bit faster. I started at a lower tempo and then slowly moved it up. But there were moments like this along the way. And believe me, that wasn't the only note to go awry, but it serves as a great demonstration of something good to know. So the big splia in the middle there, and my lack of piano, the splia surprised me, so I didn't come in piano in the next line. If when you're playing and a note doesn't come out right, or maybe even a passage of music doesn't go quite as intended, what I found in my experience is that often the problem started earlier. But the notes that you noticed as off, or the passage, are only the outcome of that earlier thing. That is, the cause often isn't the moment where you missed the note. You have to look at what preceded it. Maybe the problem was a bar back, or maybe several bars back, where you'll find the cause that led up to your moment of being off track. In my case, the splia surprised me. And so I didn't catch the change to the piano dynamic. But it could be, say, a passage of music not going right, maybe 3 bars of fast notes, because you tensed up 6 bars earlier leading into it. From that, being tense, you didn't breathe well, and consequently you couldn't pull off doing the notes in the fast passage the way you normally could when you were relaxed and in the practice room. Thus, you had poor air, tight fingers, and, well, that led to you struggling with the fast passage. And I'll say, sometimes the cause of the problem happens before you even have taken the stage. But I'll leave that story for another time. In the case of my splia, I'd say that happened because I wasn't centering the note well. I wasn't approaching it and thinking about it well, and I suppose that's a lead-up thing too. And that's something that is just, I need to do more practice, more slowly, so I can find the center of the note, and then I'll speed it up. This is how I approach it anyway. So we've sort of covered a little bit of how I went about practicing the study, but I want to mention that my main focus was on my tonguing and the indicated articulations, the accents, the staccatos, as well as the dynamics. While I was doing this, I realized what part of the struggle was that I was dealing with. I'll get to that in a moment, but first, just pull them out, slow it down, let your body figure it out. I'm always doing this, making mini exercises, sometimes playing them at speed, often slowing them down. I do this because your body needs time to learn how to do what you're asking of it. So you hold the idea of what you want to do, and then you set about giving it time by playing to learn how to do it. You have to be patient, take breaks, and I do that a lot, and I did do that a lot, and then try again. So I kept going, I took breaks periodically, but I was working on bringing up the tempo while maintaining good tonguing, accents and staccatos, playing the dynamics, and heading towards 126 to the quarter note. Along the way, I had this insight. It's the one I mentioned earlier in the video, and this is what it was. The thing is, and this is where I'm remembering now from the past, tonguing an accented note at forte requires one approach, I guess you could say. Ultimately, the air moves, the tongue moves, but it's different at piano. The way the tongue moves, the way the air moves, it's different. And fortissimo, different again. So the same with the staccato, the amount, and it's the amount of air you put at accents when they're forte or piano or fortissimo, and the amount of air that you put at the staccatos at the different dynamics. They're different. And so when you're learning these things, you've got to, they're almost their own little things. And that's where I pull it out and I just do the piano ones. Feel what that feels like. Find it. If it's not working, find those staccato notes. So that when I say find is figure out how to make them sound like staccato notes at that dynamic. What do you physically have to do with your air, with your tongue, because they work together to do it at a piano. So versus at a forte or fortissimo. That's what I'm working on. And I just realized, well, yeah, it's the dynamic and the change of the air. You need less air, but you still need it to be supported. That's where practice comes in. This one little study we've looked at, number 2, offers many challenges. And if you're still building or rebuilding like me, let me remind you, you have to let your body figure things out and you have to be patient with it while it does. This is one thing I always try to remember. I was wondering, have you dug out your copy of Clodomir? Are you planning to? Can you let me know in the comments? And I just wondered, from what you've just watched, was there anything in particular that really stood out for you as helpful or interesting? Can you let me know that too? It's helpful for me as I prepare these videos for you. If you'd like more ideas for working on hard parts, I think you'll like this video here. And when I have the third study ready, it'll be up here. Okay, I blame that on my glasses.